Mora, Waipuna, Halswell, Hornby, Riccarton Community Board.
Good morning, Leanne.
Good morning.
Councillors and staff. We have 3 for the price of 1 this morning. So we've got one of our board members representing each ward in our board area. So as you know, we're one of the biggest and fastest growing community boards, and we do appreciate that it is time to have a look at boundaries. And we'll go through that process, but in general, we support the amalgamation of boards, so that there's three wards in each board area, and generally support the time for the change. It's just the boundary issues that we're really concerned about. So we'll start off with the Halswell. Debbie.
Thank you, Mike. Good morning, everybody. Yes, this is a very contentious issue in Halswell in regards to our boundary lines. As a board, we felt that, especially Kennedy's Bush Road, you've obviously all read that, Kennedy's Bush Road, the residents that live there feel that they strongly associate with Halswell. They back onto the Halswell quarry, not the Cashmere quarry. They descend into Halswell. All the Halswell community connections are there, and so they don't associate with Cashmere at all. In fact, the weekend of the closure of these submissions, it was my busiest weekend on the phone, well, my second busiest weekend on the phone in my 7 years of being elected in regards to Kennedy's Bush Road. So there's a strong feeling there, especially with it being, as they call it, a cul-de-sac. They're all dealing with the same issues up there, and it is an external boundary line to Christchurch, and they just don't feel it's that they just simply don't want to be split up. We also feel very strongly in regards to maintaining part of Wigram. There was proposal to move Wigram to Hornby. A lot of Wigram people don't associate with Hornby, in particular the Broken Run area, which is on the south side of Wigram Road, and also the Awatea South area, which, if you're not sure where that is, it's kind of around by Somerset Retirement Village, in and around there as well. So that was pretty much it, wasn't it?
Yep.
Mike?
Yep. Thanks, Deb. Moving on to the Hornby ward. Our with the Awatea South Broken Run unit boundaries from the proposed Hornby ward to into the Halswell ward. So that's what we're suggesting there. And that the Broomfield area, High Broomfield area, as you'll hear from other submissions, is a very, very, very close affinity with Hornby, always has been. It's a low socio-economic area. So what we'd really like to consider is the retention of the Broomfield area and the retention of the Riccarton Racecourse area as one block, rather than split the racecourse sort of precinct area, and also out to Yaldhurst as well. So there's a lot of work out there that's going on, and we see Yaldhurst Road as a boundary. People on the south side of Yaldhurst Road have got their community of interest is definitely in the Hornby area, and we see Yaldhurst Road as the barrier, really, as a sensible line. So that's you'll hear from other people in the area, but it's something that's really we feel really passionate about, is the retention of those areas in our ward, and we it's just we're quite happy with we've analysed the issues of shifting the Awatea, South Awatea and the Broken Run and within our board area, and we're comfortable with that. We're also comfortable with the retention of some of the older parts of Wigram in the Hornby ward as well. So what we're looking at is including that, and the newer part of Wigram Skies development stays in the Halswell ward. So that makes a lot of sense to us and to our communities that have always identified with Hornby before Wigram, Skies went ahead. So that's enough for me for now. And if you analyse the statistics of the pluses and minuses of shifting those boundaries around a bit, you'll find that we're happy with that. We are happy with that, because there's pluses and minuses. When you tweak one area, there's some pluses, and you tweak another area, there's some minuses. But taken overall, we're comfortable with it. Helen?
Thank you. We've all met and agreed on the changes to, in fact, the boundaries. So, and I also want to say that we're very clear that Halswell, Hornby and Riccarton should stay together as one board. Now, there's 4 things in Riccarton that I want to go over. Riccarton has been cut off to some extent from where it was, and the edge of Riccarton is now Waimari Road. And we would strongly argue, this is the most important one, that there's a triangle there between Pier Street, Waimari Road and Riccarton Road, which separates 2 shopping centres. You've got the Bush Inn, larger complex, and the smaller shopping centre, which is largely Asian shops on the other side of Waimari Road. So at the very least, the boundary there should be Pier Street, which is a sort of major road. The other issue there is that there's a community of interest, because most of the houses are smaller units, and they comprise either single people or people in sort of couples. It's not very much a family area. It's quite dense, and there's 111,000 residents there. No, 1,100 residents. So please make it Pier Street at the very least.
You need to put a comma.
Yeah, thank you. Now, there's to compensate for that, there's an area of Riccarton that has been in Hornby, and that's the area from Carmen Road right through to Buchanan's Road and between Epsom Road. And that needs to stay in Hornby. It's never been identified as Riccarton. I don't see it as Riccarton. So please leave that area in Hornby. And the area north of Racecourse Road, we're asking that stay in Hornby as well. So Riccarton goes up to Racecourse Road. And that will give you another 900 or more than that people. The second major issue, that the university campus is being split. There's the Island campus, the large campus, and the Dovedale campus, which used to be the old Teachers College campus. We believe that should remain in Riccarton. There's a community of interest there, in that what Riccarton has to deal with in our board is sort of the interface between students and older residents and noise and vandalism. And we've always been the actual one that's handled that. And it seems appropriate to keep the campuses together and the area around that together. Now, a way of doing that, which was brought up by a staff member who's been exceedingly good on figures, you'd have to go from Solway Avenue down to Parkston, down to Island Park Place, Athol Terrace and along Brodie Street. So Brodie Street is one section north of Pier Street. And I think we can do that with those figures. The other area I'd like to take you down to is Matai Street. And if you look at Kilmarnock Street on the very edge going north, There's an area there which has always been in Riccarton, and we've had agreement it will go down Matai Street, but we thought at the beginning it would be both sides of Matai Street, and it's not clear. So if it's down the middle of Matai Street, it doesn't make sense because there's a cycleway on one side and just a road on the other side. So you'd need to include all of Matai Street, and if needed, you'd need to go to the current boundary, which is the river. But we're very clear too that Mona Vale must stay in Fendleton. So if you went with the river boundary, you'll take it to the railway line, and then you'd go into Fendleton at that point, and Mona Vale.
Yep.
So those are really the key issues, and we'd like them all to be changed actually. So we're hoping that all of them are able to be changed.
Yep.
Now I think the figures will actually allow it too. Once we give a lot back to Hornby, then and Hornby's the one that's going to be under pressure rather than Riccarton, I think.
We're not under pressure.
No,
at all.
under pressure in terms of changes and numbers.
You've come to the end of your time now, so
Have we?
yes.
Oh,
So-
sorry, because it wasn't on the screen. Sorry, Leanne.
Well, it's 10 minutes, well and truly. I've let you run on a little bit.
There's no time.
Oh, well, it was hard for us to judge with
Anyway.
Helen talking longer than. But
Oh.
anyway,
A good chair doesn't blame his deputy chair for that.
It is.
But in terms of managing the time, what other elements did you want to?
None.
You've covered everything.
I just did because I'm just about staffing. We are one staff member down, and we.
Yeah, but were there any other elements in terms of the representation review that you didn't touch on? You've
No.
covered off all of the elements you wanted to touch on.
We did want to talk about supporting Banks Peninsula totally.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
There's been 80 submissions on Banks Peninsula.
Yep.
And I think, Leanne, the thing to which is surprising and good is that we have all agreed as board members on what's in front of you. So any of the boundary changes have been agreed.
I will take a moment and reflect on the significance of that statement. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, there's the time. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, team.
Thank you.
Oh, there was
So the
other
next is the Waimaro, Fendleton Waimari Harewood Community Board. Bridget Williams.